I talked last week about Sydney's outrageously wet winter. We had actually some sunshine and clear skies over the weekend. It's just rained before then, just rained continuously and non-stop for weeks on end. In fact, in the Sydney CBD, it's been the wettest August on record, a rainfall record broken way back when August still had more than 10 days to run. Now, anyone who's been paying attention knows that this is the opposite climate impact to what's been pushed by the climate alarmists.
Even the rain that falls isn't actually going to fill our dams and our river system. Even the rain that falls isn't actually going to fill our dams and our river system.
Yeah, that's the man Labor made Climate Commissioner, a bloke the ABC often uses as an expert on climate change, a bloke who's certainly got no idea. But it's not just Sydney that's been wet. Even while parts of South Australia and Victoria were suffering through drought, over in Perth, the normally dry West Australian capital has been having a super wet winter.
Other states and territories may be used to this kind of weather, but for the West, the amount of rain that has fallen is unusual for this time of year. Perth has surpassed its average winter rainfall of 467 millimetres for the first time in 25 years. Showers and storms over the state's southwest have contributed to the rainfall totals. Yeah, even the Golden West is wet. But you know how the Weather Bureau often gets all catastrophist about global warming when there's a heat wave or a new maximum temperature record? Listen to the way they deal with this rainfall record.
Can't really explain why this winter's been quite active and we've had a lot of rainfall. So, yeah, it's just the natural variability of the climate, really.
Yeah, when the weather is hot or dry, they love to cite climate change and use it as a portent of disaster to come. But when it's rain, it's just natural climate variability, no mention of global warming. They only talk about climate change when the weather suits their narrative. Still, listen to the Prime Minister today, and apparently the scary news is all around us.
Whether it's the increased water temperature, that's having an impact in South Australia, whether it's the droughts in southern Australia, whether it's the floods in the mid-north coast, whether it's the impact as well that's having on the west coast. We see an increased number of weather events occurring. That is what the science told us would occur. It is happening.
Yeah, he ramps up the alarmism, doesn't he? And why? Well, for politics, of course. He wants to attack the coalition over the net zero debate.
If you get rid of net zero, you are saying climate change is not real and you do not need to do anything about it.
Well, no, Prime Minister, I don't deny climate change, but I'm opposed to net zero by 2050 because I understand climate science and reality. First, net zero is not achievable. That's what the experts tell us. Not globally and not in Australia. Not with current technology and certainly not without a huge amount of nuclear energy. Second, we will send ourselves broke trying to get there. We already are doing that. Have you checked your power bill lately? Or how well Australian manufacturing and industry is going? Third, the rest of the world is increasing its emissions. So even though we're destroying our economy, trying to achieve a target we can't meet, whatever we do with our less than 1% of global emissions will not make one scintilla of difference to the atmosphere or therefore the climate. So if you support net zero by 2050 for Australia, you support a massive economic burden covering our beautiful landscapes with solar farms, wind turbines and transmission lines, delivering more expensive and less reliable power just to meet a target we can't meet and to have virtually zero impact on the climate. It's all pain and no gain. They won't do a cost-benefit analysis of their policies because the costs are huge and the benefits are non-existent. Simple as that. But Albo reckons he's saving the planet. Have a look.
It is defying what we see happening around us and defying the science my government will act on climate change.
No, Prime Minister, you cannot change the climate. You are only wrecking our energy grid and undercutting our prosperity. That's the facts. Don't treat voters like fools, because eventually they'll wake up.